The room waited for her to shut it down, to tell the kid to go back to algebra class. Instead, she tossed the file aside with a huff. Well, ain't this a circus? Watch some YouTube tutorials and think you're Atticus Finch? Fine. Let's see how long you last before you trip over your own sneakers. The gallery chuckled, low and sharp. A retiree in the back, Mr. Jenkins, whispered to his buddy, "Kid's about to get schooled." His friend snorted, nodding. The sun scorched the streets of Calverton, Texas, a dusty city where the horizon shimmered with heat and the kind of secrets that festered in plain sight. In the heart of downtown, the Calverton County Courthouse squatted like a tired old man, its brick facade cracked from years of neglect, its halls reeking of stale coffee and bureaucracy. On a sweltering Wednesday morning in 2025, Courtroom 3C was half alive with murmurs, the gallery a mix of bored locals, fidgeting reporters, and a few stragglers scrolling phones to kill time. The air was thick, the AC wheezing like it was on its last legs. When 17-year-old Malik Dawson stepped through the door, hoodie up, sneakers scuffed to hell, the room barely noticed, until he kept walking straight to the plaintiff's table and dropped his backpack with a thud that echoed like a warning shot. "Hood off, kid." Judge Clara Monroe snapped from the bench, her voice sharp with the kind of irritation reserved for punks who wandered into her domain. "This ain't a skate park." A ripple of laughter rolled through the gallery. The bailiff, a burly guy named Hank, smirked, his arms crossed like he was watching a comedy show. Malik didn't flinch. He pulled the hood down, revealing tight cornrows and dark eyes that didn't blink, eyes that seemed to catalog every smirk, every whisper, every raised eyebrow. His faded black hoodie, ripped jeans, and sneakers with duct tape soles screamed "wrong place." But he sat down like he owned the room. Across from him, defense attorney Victor Crane, a slick 40-something in a pinstripe suit, adjusted his gold cufflinks, his grin saying, "This'll be over by lunch." Nobody expected Malik Dawson to rewrite the script, but 20 minutes later, the laughter was gone, replaced by a silence that felt like the air before a storm. Malik's voice cut through the hum, steady as a blade. "Malik Dawson, Your Honor, I'm here representing my aunt, Ms. Lena Carter, in her civil claim, case number 2025 CV 112. The gallery froze. Judge Monroe, a wiry woman in her late 50s with stare that could crack concrete, leaned forward, her glasses slipping. "Say that again, son." Her tone was half amused, half ready to toss him out. Malik didn't waver. "I'm her legal representative. Pro-acy appointment. Paperwork was filed and approved last Thursday." He reached into his backpack, pulled out a crisp file folder and held it up. Hank, still smirking, sauntered over, took it, and handed it to the judge. Monroe flipped through it, her frown deepening. The signatures were there. Clerk's stamp, judge's scrawl, all legit. The room waited for her to shut it down, to tell the kid to go back to algebra class. Instead, she tossed the file aside with a huff. Well, ain't this a circus? Watch some YouTube tutorials and think you're Atticus Finch? Fine. Let's see how long you last before you trip over your own sneakers. The gallery chuckled, low and sharp. A retiree in the back, Mr. Jenkins, whispered to his buddy, "Kid's about to get schooled." His friend snorted, nodding. Malik didn't bite. He opened his binder, flipped a page, and jotted a note on a yellow legal pad, calm as if he were ordering coffee. Victor Crane stood, smoothing his tie, his voice dripping with Ivy League polish. "Your Honor, we're ready to proceed, but I'd like to know for the record that we reserve the right to move for dismissal based on plaintiff's unconventional choice of counsel." The word unconventional landed like a jab, and the gallery snickered again. Monroe waved it off, her lips twitching. Let the boy have his moment. He wants to play lawyer. Let's see how fast he crashes. Go on, Mr. Dawson. Dazzle us. Malik looked up the first time, his gaze locking on Crane, then Monroe. His voice was low, deliberate, with a hint of sarcasm that cut like glass. "Before we start, Your Honor, can I confirm that opposing counsel has submitted all documents related to the March 12th maintenance violation? Emails, work orders, photos, timestamps?" The room stilled. Crane's grin faltered. Monroe blinked, her pen pausing. "That's specific. she said, eyeing Crane. The attorney cleared his throat, suddenly interested in his notes. Those weren't included in initial discovery due to clerical oversight. Malik's eyebrow twitched, his tone dry as the Texas heat. Oversight? Funny how the documents central to my aunt's case got overlooked. Must be a busy office. A few gasps slipped from the gallery. Mr. Jenkins stopped whispering. Monroe's frown deepened, but now it was aimed at Crane. 5-minute recess, she growled. Get those documents, Mr. Crane, and don't waste my time again. Malik sat back, nodded once, and scribbled another note. The courtroom wasn't bored anymore, it was hooked. Malik grew up in Calverton's West End, a maze of lower-end apartments and corner stores where dreams went to die. His Aunt Lena's complex, Sunset Gardens, was a crumbling relic. Peeling paint, busted mailboxes, pipes that groaned like they were haunted. It wasn't the kind of place where people thought about civil court. But Malik's mom, Diane, did. She'd worked doubles at a diner for 18 years, stretching every paycheck like it was taffy, teaching Malik early that nobody was coming to save them. His dad split when he was 6, leaving a pile of unpaid bills and a note that said, "I'll be back." He wasn't. Malik didn't cry about it. He got to work. By 13, he was a kid in the back of class, hoodie up, scribbling in notebooks. Not doodles, but legal terms he'd found online. Teachers thought he was slacking. He wasn't. When his cousin got hit with a trumped-up drug charge over a traffic stop, Malik started digging court transcripts, Texas statutes, case law on Google Scholar. Anger turned to curiosity, then obsession. By 15, he could recite tenant rights like scripture. At 16, he was drafting mock motions for fun, while other kids chased clout on social media. He didn't have a phone plan, just a library card and a beat-up laptop. Weekends, he'd sit in Calverton's public court gallery, watching cases like a hawk, breaking them down like a chess player studying moves. Nobody took him seriously except Diane. One night, folding towels, she looked at him and said, "You're going to be somebody's nightmare in a courtroom someday." She went back to her laundry, but her words stuck like glue. It got real when Lena came to their apartment, eyes red, clutching a lease violation notice. She was 26, a nurse's aide at Mercy General, raising her 10-year-old brother, Jamal, who had asthma so bad he'd miss school for weeks. The notice claimed she neglected a maintenance issue, a flooded bathroom, that caused structural damage. Only problem? Lena had reported the leak months ago, with timestamps to prove it. The property manager, Greg Waller, had ignored her, and now her landlord, Pinnacle Properties, was pushing to evict her. Lena was in trouble. She paid rent early, kept her place spotless, even when the AC died in July. But Pinnacle had new owners, a corporate outfit with big plans to upscale Sunset Gardens. That meant jacking rent, tightening rules, and pushing out tenants like Lena, who didn't fit their glossy vision. 2 other families, both black and low income, had already been forced out with flimsy violations. Lena couldn't afford a lawyer, so Malik stepped up, not with bravado, but with a fire that burned quiet. He pulled city records, maintenance logs, an email chain where Waller bragged about clearing out the riffraff. He found a neighbor, Mrs. Alvarez, who'd overheard Waller laughing about fudging reports. Malik built a case, filed the paperwork, got it notarized, and walked into courtroom 3C with a binder thicker than his algebra textbook. The clerk double-checked his ID, triple-checked the forms, but they were airtight. Texas law let family represent family in civil court with approval, and Malik had it. He wasn't here to play. He was here to win. Back in the courtroom, the recess ended, and Crane slid a thin folder across the table, his face tight. The requested documents, Your Honor. Monroe scanned them, her lips pursed. This is it? Half a work order and a blurry photo? You're testing my patience. Malik stood, his voice calm but sharp. Your Honor, those documents don't include the tenant complaint logs or the email from March 15th, where Mr. Waller admits the leak was reported but not prioritized. I'd like to know why. Crane's jaw twitched. That email wasn't part of the discovery request. Malik's eyes narrowed, his sarcasm biting. Really? Because I have a copy right here, legally obtained through a tenant's FOIA request. He handed a printout to Hank, who passed it to Monroe. The gallery shifted, whispers rising. Monroe read aloud, her voice flat but heavy. No need to rush on 4BS leak. We're phasing out those tenants anyway. This is your client's words, Mr. Crane? Crane stammered. That's out of context, Your Honor, Malik cut in, his tone dry as dust. Context? The context is my aunt facing eviction for your client's negligence. Care to explain? The gallery gasped. Hank's smirk was gone. Monroe leaned back, her pen tapping slowly. Mr. Dawson, you're making this interesting. Proceed. Malik paced the front. No papers, just his notepad and a pen tucked behind his ear. This case isn't about a flooded bathroom. It's about a system that picks and chooses who gets to stay. My aunt Lena Carter is a single guardian, working nights at Mercy General, raising a kid with asthma. She reported a leak in January, followed up in February, got ignored. March 12th, Pinnacle slaps her with a violation, claiming she caused the damage. She wasn't even home when the pipe burst. She was pulling a 12-hour shift. No evidence, no signed complaint. Just a typed report from a manager who's been caught scheming to push out tenants like her. He paused, his gaze sweeping the room. We're not asking for pity. We're asking for the law to do its job. The room was dead quiet, the kind of silence that felt like it could crack. Mr. Jenkins in the back stopped fidgeting. A reporter scribbled furiously. Monroe scratched her chin, her annoyance replaced by something else. Curiosity, maybe respect. You got proof for all this? She asked, her voice softer now. Malik nodded, handing Hank a tab binder. Inside were Lena's time cards, maintenance requests, Mrs. Alvarez's affidavit, and the damning email chain. Monroe flipped through it, her eyebrows climbing. Organized, she muttered. But evidence doesn't win cases alone, Mr. Dawson. Malik's lips twitched, not quite a smile. I know, Your Honor, but facts don't need a suit to speak loud. Crane stood, his confidence fraying. Your Honor, the plaintiff has a history of minor violations. Late rent, noise issues. Malik didn't miss a beat. Late rent? Paid with penalties documented here. He flipped to a tab. Noise? No complaints filed, no witnesses. Care to produce one? Crane's face reddened. We're working on it. Malik's voice was pure sarcasm. Take your time. I've got all day. A chuckle slipped from the gallery, quickly stifled. Monroe shot a look, but her lips twitched too. Enough, she said. Mr. Dawson, call your witness. Malik nodded. Mrs. Elena Alvarez, apartment 4A. The gallery stirred as an older woman with a cane stood, her steps slow but steady. Malik offered his arm, guiding her to the stand. She swore in, her eyes sharp despite her age. Mrs. Alvarez, Malik began, did you file a complaint against Lena Carter on March 12th? Elena shook her head. No, Mijo, never. Did you hear Mr. Waller discuss tenant evictions? She nodded, her voice firm. Heard him talking to some suit on the phone, laughing about clearing out the dead weight in our building. Said Forby was next. Malik stepped back. No further questions. Crane rose, but Monroe cut him off. Save it. She's answered enough. Elena shuffled back to her seat, giving Malik a small nod. The room felt heavier, like the truth was sinking in. Malik wasn't just fighting for Lena. He was fighting a machine. Sunset Gardens wasn't just a rundown complex. It was owned by Pinnacle Properties, a corporate giant with ties to Calverton City Council. The new owners wanted to turn the place into luxury lofts, and tenants like Lena were in the way. Malik had uncovered more than emails. He'd found a whistleblower, a former maintenance worker named Rico Mendez, who quit after being told to lose repair logs. Rico was in the hallway, subpoenaed, ready to testify, but Malik held that card close, sensing the courtroom wasn't ready for the full truth yet. Growing up in the West End taught him to play smart, not loud. His mom, Diane, was his anchor. She'd raise him alone, working 16-hour days, teaching him to read the world like a book. People underestimate you, Malik, she'd said one night, chopping onions for dinner. Use it. Let him laugh. Then make him choke on it. Her words were his fuel. When Lena showed up with that eviction notice, Malik didn't hesitate. He spent nights at the library, cross-referencing laws, pulling records, building a case that could stand up to a suit like Crane. He wasn't cocky. He was relentless. And now, in courtroom 3C, that relentlessness was shifting the air. Monroe tapped her pen, eyeing Malik. You're prepared, I'll give you that. But this is a civil court, not a soapbox. Got anything else? Malik nodded, sliding a USB drive to Hank. Security footage from Mercy General, showing Lena's shifts on March 12th, plus a statement from her supervisor confirming her hours. The projector flickered to life, showing grainy footage. Lena, scrubs on, badge clipped, entering the hospital at 6:32 p.m. Another clip, 7:10 a.m., her leaving, exhausted, hair messy. The gallery watched in silence. Crane crosses arms, his jaw tight. Monroe leaned forward. This checks out. Mr. Crane, your response? Crane fumbled. We, weren't aware of the exact timeline. Malik cut in, his voice dry. You had the case file for weeks. The timeline was in the summary. Maybe you skipped it. A reporter stifled a laugh. Monroe's eyes narrowed, but she didn't scold him. Careful, Mr. Dawson. But point taken. Malik sat, his jaw tight, not from nerves, but from holding back the fire. He'd spent weeks on this, missing sleep, dodging friends, pouring everything into saving Lena's home. But the system wasn't built for kids like him. It was built to chew them up. The real fight wasn't just the eviction. Malik had stumbled onto something bigger, a pattern of evictions targeting low-income tenants across Pinnacle's properties. He'd found Rico through a tip from a neighbor, a quiet guy who'd worked maintenance for years. Rico had emailed Malik late one night, nervous, saying he'd seen Waller shred documents and heard him on calls with Pinnacle execs about streamlining the tenant base. Rico had kept copies, hidden on a flash drive, and was willing to talk, if Malik could protect him. That was the twist nobody saw coming. Malik glanced at Lena, who sat rigid, her hands clasped, her leg bouncing under the table. He leaned over, whispering, "You good?" She nodded barely, her voice low. "I just want this over, Malik. I can't lose our place. Jamal can't handle moving again." Malik's eyes softened. "I got you. Trust me." She gave a small smile, but it was fragile, like glass about to crack. Monroe cleared her throat, her tone shifting. "Mr. Dawson, you've got my attention. Call your next witness." Malik stood, his voice steady. Rico Mendez, former maintenance worker at Sunset Gardens. The gallery buzzed. Crane shot up. "Objection!" He wasn't listed. Malik didn't blink. He was subpoenaed. Email confirmations in the file, dated last Tuesday. He slid a page to Hank, who handed it to Monroe. She scanned it, nodded. "Bring him in." The door creaked, and Rico walked in, a lanky man in his 30s, his work boots scuffed, his eyes darting. He took the oath, his hands shaking. Malik approached, his voice calm but probing. "Mr. Mendez, did you work at Sunset Gardens in March 2025? Rico nodded. "Yeah, 5 years." "Did you receive Lena Carter's maintenance request about a bathroom leak?" "Yeah, multiple times. January, February. I logged, but Waller told me to hold off." "Why?" Rico hesitated, glancing at Crane. He said certain tenants weren't worth the fix. Said the company wanted him out. The gallery gasped. Crane stood, his voice sharp. "Objection! Hearsay!" Monroe waved it off. "Overruled. Let him finish." Malik pressed on. "Did you see anything else unusual?" Rico's voice dropped. Waller shredded repair logs. "I heard him on the phone, talking about clearing the block for new tenants. I kept copies of some logs, just in case." Malik handed another USB to Hank. "These are those logs, Your Honor, plus a recording of Waller discussing the plan with Pinnacle's regional director." The room erupted in whispers. Monroe banged her gavel. "Quiet." She leaned forward, her eyes locked on Malik. "You're telling me you got a recording?" Malik nodded. "Legally obtained, Your Honor." Mr. Mendez consented. The projector lit up again and a grainy audio played. Waller's voice, smug, saying, "Carter's out by summer. We'll pin the leak on her. No problem." Pinnacle's got the council in their pocket. The gallery was a sea of wide eyes. Crane's face drained of color. Monroe's pen stopped tapping. "This is troubling," she said, her voice low. Malik didn't smile. He stood still, letting the truth do the talking. But the truth wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something uglier. Malik had uncovered conspiracy that went beyond Sunset Gardens. Pinnacle wasn't just a greedy landlord. They were tied to a city council member, Regina Holt, who'd pushed zoning changes to favor Pinnacle's luxury projects. Rico's logs hinted at it, but Malik had more, a leaked memo from Holt's office, slipped in by a clerk who'd overheard too much. The memo outlined a deal. Pinnacle would fund Holt's re-election if she fast-tracked their permits. Evicting tenants like Lena was step one. Clear the properties, raise the rents, gentrify the West End. Malik hadn't planned to go this deep, but the more he dug, the more he found. Rico was his ace, but the memo was his checkmate. He held it back, waiting for the right moment, knowing it could blow the case wide open or put a target on his back. Monroe called a recess, her face grim. The gallery buzzed as people spilled into the hallway, whispering about the kid who'd turned the courtroom upside down. Malik and Lena sat outside, sharing a vending machine soda. Lena's voice was soft, trembling. "Malik, how'd you do all this? You're 17. You should be, I don't know, playing basketball, chasing girls." Malik shrugged, his smile faint. "Basketball's overrated, and girls don't care about a guy with no car." She laughed, but it broke into a sob. "I was so scared, losing our place, Jamal getting sicker. I didn't think we had a chance." Malik's eyes softened, his voice low. "I saw what happened to my cousin. Cops lied, said he resisted, locked him up for nothing. I couldn't let that happen to you. Somebody's got to fight." Lena squeezed his hand. "You're more than I deserve." He shook his head. "Nah, you're family. That's enough." Back in the courtroom, Crane was sweating, his cufflinks no longer gleaming. He tried to pivot, claiming Lena's lease had other violations, but Malik countered with documents proving they were either resolved or fabricated. "You're reaching, Mr. Crane," Monroe said, her tone sharp, "and I'm losing patience." Malik seized a moment, standing again. "Your Honor, I'd like to submit one more piece of evidence." He handed Hank the memo, his voice steady. "This is a leaked document from Councilwoman Regina Holt's office, detailing a deal with Pinnacle to displace low-income tenants for profit. It's why my aunt was targeted." The gallery exploded. Crane shot up. "Objection! This is irrelevant and unverified." Monroe silenced him with a look. "I'll decide what's relevant. Sit." She read the memo, her face hardening. "Mr. Dawson, where did you get this?" Malik met her gaze. "A concerned citizen, Your Honor. Someone who saw what Pinnacle was doing and couldn't stay quiet." The truth was, the clerk, a young woman named Aisha, had slipped it to him after hours, risking her job. Malik didn't name her. He'd promised to keep her safe. The twist hit, like a thunderclap. Monroe called another recess, ordering both sides to her chambers. In the hallway, Rico pulled Malik aside, his voice low. "You don't know what you're messing with, kid. Pinnacle's got people everywhere. Cops, council, even judges. I'm out after this. You should be too." Malik's jaw tightened. "I'm not running. Lena needs me." Rico shook his head. "You're brave, but brave gets you buried." Malik didn't answer. He was already thinking 3 moves ahead. Back in the courtroom, Monroe returned, her face a mask of steel. "This court finds eviction against Lena Carter baseless. The complaint is dismissed, and Pinnacle Properties is ordered to cover court costs and damages for procedural violations." The gallery exhaled, some clapping softly, but Monroe wasn't done. "Furthermore, I'm referring this case to the Texas Attorney General for investigation into Pinnacle's practices and potential collusion with city officials." Crane slumped in his seat, his suit looking like a costume now. Malik nodded, his face unreadable. but his heart was racing. The sweet ending wasn't just a win. It was what came after. Outside, Lena hugged Malik, tears streaming. "You saved us," she whispered. He hugged her back, his voice soft. "We saved us." They sat at the bus stop, sharing a bag of chips, laughing about nothing, the weight of the fight lifting. Diane met them at home, her eyes shining with pride. "Told you, Malik. You're a nightmare." He grinned, the first real smile all day. "Good." A week later, news broke. Pinnacle CEO stepped down, and Holt announced she wouldn't run for re-election. Aisha, the clerk, got a quiet promotion, her secret safe. Malik didn't take the spotlight. He went back to his notebooks, his library, his quiet fire. But Calverton was different now. Kids in the West End started whispering about the boy who beat the system, and Lena's apartment stayed hers, a home for Jamal's laughter. In a world that tried to silence him, Malik's voice echoed, proving that brains, heart, and a little grit could move mountains. Share this story if it hit you. Ask yourself, who's the Malik in your life? The kid nobody sees coming? And if it's you, keep fighting. They'll hear you eventually. If you enjoy this story, click the like and subscribe button. Comment where you are watching from, and let's be friends. Till I see you another time, stay safe, stay kind, and stay blessed.